The gigantic government sucks. Pursuit of happiness radio is deluxe. Liberty and freedom will make you smile. The pursuit of happiness on your radio dial. Just as cheeseburgers and liberty fries, it's pursuit of happiness time.
Yeah. All right. So we just found out some hotels have started offering guests ghost hunting kits for Halloween. Although, fair warning, if you use a blacklight in a Las Vegas hotel, you're going to find a lot scarier things than ghosts. Just don't do it. You know, it's very gross. Hi, I'm Kenny Webster. Guests over the next hour include Daniel Turner from Power the Future. Apparently, there is a cancel campaign involving New York Times and Media Matters, if you're familiar with them, a watchdog group. It's actually just a group of liberals that pretend to get offended by things and then try to cancel you. And well, Daniel Turner will be giving us the latest on that. Also coming by in the next hour here, my buddy Tim Mathis, a very funny stand-up comedian, is going to be here. He, not surprisingly, wants to weigh in on the Tony Hinchcliffe thing, but also P. Diddy and a handful of other stuff. Apparently, Jennifer Aniston just announced who she's going to be endorsing. It's so exciting, guys. You're not going to believe who Jennifer Aniston is endorsing. Stick around for that. As if you don't already know. Like, I don't even have to tell you. You don't need to know. Even if you didn't already know, you already know. But we'll get to all that real soon. I am, speaking of stand-up comedy, I am hosting a comedy show. For those of you that live in the Houston area or you're anywhere near the Houston area, we have a lot of listeners in Tyler and Waco and Corpus Christi. Drive on in. A week from this Sunday, we're hosting a stand-up comedy show at Bad Astronaut Brewing Company. You can get your tickets at wheelchairsforwarriors.org under the events section, or you can also get them using the Walton & Johnson smartphone app. I'm live on social media right now. I'm showing what our app looks like. You can download it for free in the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. So get it. Why not? I'm live on social media right now. You'll notice I'm not wearing a costume. And it's not because I don't love Halloween. I do. I do love Halloween. I had 2 costumes this year, and I just didn't wear one of them to work today. Last weekend, as a lot of you know, I already told this story, so I won't tell it again. Me and my girlfriend went to Red Rocks Amphitheater in Colorado, and we dressed up as cops and hung out at a rave with hippies and scared everybody. It was very scary because I don't like cops. And then, but I was going to go as, I had like a Top Gun outfit I was going to wear today, but then I'm not going to lie to you. When I woke up this morning and went to work at 4 a.m., I just forgot it was Halloween. So anyway, here I am standing before you, just wearing my regular guy clothes. But today is Halloween. And apparently Joe Biden has a really clever costume picked out. He's pretending to be the president. It's so funny, guys. You'd think he really thought he was the president if you saw this costume. But you know what I enjoyed the most, and I know a lot of you have already seen this. You probably love this. Donald Trump went as a garbage man. Well, you get why, right? Again, I'm not going to waste airtime telling you stuff you already know. Tony Hinchcliffe, the stand-up comedy bit. Joe Biden called us all garbage. First, we were Bible clingers, and then we were what? Deplorables, and then we were Nazis, and then we were garbage. So we're clinging, garbage, Nazi deplorables. I don't know. It's a lot of words, but they hate you. They hate you. Act accordingly. That's what I think you should do. But Donald Trump yesterday actually kept on. He actually kept his. Oh, great. Is this thing not working? Did I not set? I didn't set it up. Hang on. There we go. Okay, good. Sorry. I didn't have my computer set up correctly. Donald Trump yesterday actually wore the garbage man costume to give a speech. And when you find out why he wore it, it's very funny.
And then I got in the car and I'm driving over here and I have this still on. And I come into the arena and I say, "Where's my jacket? I want to get out of this thing." And they said, "It would be unbelievable if you could wear it on stage." I said, and I said, "No way." I got 25,000 people standing outside. I got all these people here. There's no way I'm wearing it on stage. They said, "Oh, okay, sir." I said, "Get me my jacket." But if you did, you know, it actually makes you look thinner. I said, and they got me. I said, "I want to wear it on stage." And they said I look thinner.
Come on, that's pretty funny, guys. Come on, Trump is funny, isn't he? He's legit funny. To run for president, you have to be an egomaniac. You have to be a megalomaniac. You have to be a little narcissistic. You have to. To think you should be the most powerful political leader in the free world, you absolutely have to do that. But you got to admit, for a guy that is supposed to be that, he is very humble. Making jokes like, I thought it was funny, you know. Anyway, regardless, this has been a tough week for this woman on the screen right here. For those of you listening on the radio, you can't see what we're looking at. We're looking at very important black lesbian. My friend Jesse refers to her as a diversity hire. No, she's just a very important black lesbian. That's what she really is. The most important black lesbian. And boy, did Karine Jean-Pierre have a tough day yesterday. Yesterday, she got all dressed up in her cutest green jacket just in time for St. Patrick's Day, which doesn't happen for several months. And then she tried to talk away the thing that we all know we saw you. Everybody knows that Joe Biden called them garbage, but kind of like when he looked at his wristwatch during that memorial ceremony for the dead service members, the military members who died at the Kabul airport. Remember, he looked at his watch, and then the White House press secretary told us, no, that never happened. Well, he also didn't call you garbage, apparently.
Can you just address the president's comments yesterday referring to Trump supporter as garbage?
A couple of things. So just to clarify, he was not calling Trump supporters garbage.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. Which is why
It's so great. Guys, stop it right there. Clearly, he called us garbage. She knows that. She knows. Wouldn't you think if they're willing to lie about this, they're probably willing to lie to you about an awful lot of other things, too? You come home. You're a dad. You're a mom. You come home, or a gender-neutral parent. I don't mean to assume. I know. You come home and you see your child, your offspring, your adopted kid you got from Haiti, whatever, and their face is covered in chocolate. Hey, little Billy, or I don't mean to assume I know your child's name, Wang, Jamal, whatever it is. What you got chocolate all over your face for? Did you eat candy while we were gone? No, Dad, I didn't eat any candy. The chocolate is on your face. No. That's Joe Biden and Karine Jean-Pierre right now. They can't talk this away. The damage is done. Pollsters are out right now telling us undecided voters are reacting to this. It does matter, guys. The deplorable thing really hurt Hillary Clinton. And now CNN and other news outlets, NBC News, for example, they are in. It's funny that it's always funny when the White House press secretary tells the lie because you expect it. But it's downright scary when people from the media decide to stop being journalists and just join in on the partisan talking points. Here's NBC News yesterday or
and
earlier.
there you can see former President Trump wearing that safety vest on stage, leaning into President Biden's comment this week where he appeared to refer to Trump supporters as garbage before quickly clarifying.
Quickly clarifying? Wait. Quickly clarify. He did not quickly clarify. He called us all garbage. He said it. Damage is done. It's there. It sticks whether you like it or not. Sorry, I'm not sorry. That's exactly what happened. Now, nobody took the news worse than CNN did. Listen to this woman reacting to the news. This is a CNN news reporter. I already know what this woman's top 3 issues are when she goes into a ballot box to vote, and it's all abortions. Take a gander at this. This is great.
In Green Bay for us. Kristen, what's your analysis based on what we just heard from Trump?
Wolf, my analysis is exactly what we talked about before. They are trying to milk this for every single drop that they can. They want this to turn into what happened in 2016 when Hillary Clinton said that Trump supporters were a basket of deplorables. I cannot stress enough how we have spent the last 3 days, which has been reiterating, going over these racist, vile remarks that we heard in the pre-programming leading up to Donald Trump taking the stage. We have talked about how Puerto Ricans have been pulling back from Donald Trump, how they have been calling for him to issue an apology, how that he has not condemned those remarks in any way. Now he has flipped the script. He is trying to change the narrative, and he is trying to latch on to these garbage.
Whoa. Here's the thing. He's not trying. It happened. It actually happened whether you liked it to or not. And then Donald Trump had a very hilarious way of seizing on the moment. There's no doubt about that. But guys, it happened. For some reason, CNN lady, for some reason, the president of the United States insulting roughly half the people in America matters just a little bit more to voters than some stand-up comedian pointing out how Puerto Rico has a garbage problem. And oh, by the way, Puerto Rico does have a garbage problem.
Joe Biden, decades of giving dirty politics a bad name.
That's true.
Sorry, dirty politics. This is Kenny Webster's Pursuit of Happiness on KPRC 950, Houston.
Hey, we're on FM radio too. 950 is the oldest station in Texas, so we always try to point out that this is like the original. We're the talk radio station of Texas. We're very proud of that. And if you don't listen to our radio station regularly, I am a humble, modest part of what is probably the biggest morning show in the South, at least on the Gulf Coast, the Walton and Johnson Show, and I'm the executive producer, and it's one of my great honors to do that. And then, of course, in the afternoon, I host this humble little radio show. Jesse Kelly is our afternoon drive host. Great show, hilarious. Glenn Beck's on the station. Got a lot of Mark Levin, now our nighttime host. So, yeah, we got a lot of great stuff going on at KPRC. And if you just turned this video on, if you just joined us, I am really excited about next Sunday. Not this Sunday. This Saturday, we're all going to be up in Grimes County for the Patriot Parade. Now, for some of you that live in the city, if that's a little far from you, don't worry. We have an event the following weekend, a stand-up comedy show we're doing with Jesse Payton and a whole bunch of really funny right-wing comics. It's going to be at Bad Astronaut Brewing Company. And if you guys want to go to that, you absolutely can. We want you to go to that party. Our stand-up comedy shows always sell out. People always have an awesome time. If you enjoy jokes and you're not easily offended, come drink beer with us, eat tacos at Bad Astronaut Brewing Company. But get your tickets ahead of time by going to wheelchairsforwarriors.org. Click the events section. It'll be very obvious what to do from there. And, oh, by the way, it's tax deductible. So how cool is that? All right, let's continue, if you don't mind. Maestro, please. Can I get a little music? There we go. Boeing may exit the space industry. The announcement caused Boeing's stock to drop almost as fast as one of their airplane doors does. So, yeah, isn't that a little ambitious? Your planes are falling from the sky all over the country because your DEI policies are so self-destructive, and you guys want to explore outer space? You know what I mean? It's like you figure out, how to stitch socks before you make cowboy boots. There's a level to these things, right? Invent the wheel before you invent an automobile. I don't know. I had Boeing stock, and I got to tell you, of all my military industrial stocks, clearly doing the worst, but I digress. I want to talk to you guys about crime for just a minute. I'm going to put some crime stats up on the screen here. Oh, I know, statistics are racist. These statistics are really, really, really racist. But the news starts off like this, and it involves New York City. In fact, it involves me, a story about me. Believe it or not, I love talking about myself. I'm kind of an outlaw. I'm kind of a bad boy for a right-wing talk radio host. I have actually been reprimanded before for jaywalking, believe it or not. Now, it happened in a very white city. That information is relevant. I was in Austin, Texas a while back, and I crossed the street. Because as you know, I live in Houston. I used to live in Chicago. I live in some rough towns. Crime. I've witnessed people getting shot before. Someone once broke into the backseat of my car to steal a basket of dirty laundry. Why would I make that up? There'd be no point. But I do know that one time, the only time I ever got reprimanded for jaywalking was when I was in Austin, Texas. I was crossing the street and a cop stopped me. He's like, "You can't do that. You're jaywalking." And I tried to explain, "I'm sorry, sir. I'm from a city where the cops actually have problems to deal with. I know here in Austin, it's real, it's a bunch of rich white liberals, but where I'm from, the cops actually have real," and the cop's like, "Oh, you're from real America? Sorry, I didn't know that. Go on your way." That was over a decade ago. Things have actually gotten a lot worse in Austin since then. So I'm going to climb out on a limb here, and I'm going to guess they probably don't worry that much about jaywalking in Austin anymore now that the streets are lined with hypodermic needles and feces. But the point I'm getting at here today is this. Townhall.com today reports that going forward, pedestrians in New York City can cross the street wherever they please thanks to a new rule that actually decriminalizes jaywalking. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I got a thing here I want to show you guys about this. Jaywalking, as you guys know, very dangerous in a big city like New York City because there's cars driving all over the place. But also, it's a victimless crime if there's nobody in sight. So I want to just really stress here that I don't think jaywalking laws, kind of like, marijuana laws, or I think there are some laws we probably just don't need to have. And I know some of you might immediately disagree with me on that, but I think no victim, no crime. That's just my take on things. Whatever the case may be, that's not why they're getting rid of the jaywalk stuff. Let me put this on the screen here. We now go to New York City. Here's a local newscast.
A big and controversial legal change that will allow New Yorkers to jaywalk, cross the street against the light or in the middle of the street. This despite the deadly risks.
Why? Because the overwhelming majority of jaywalking tickets apparently were given to minorities. So why didn't they just level the playing field to these tickets? Meanwhile,
what does
kids
that mean?
Do not do this. This can be deadly.
Wait. He makes a weird point there, right? Why don't they just level the playing field? What is he saying? Like, why don't they just start ticketing more white people for the thing and stop doing it to black people? By the way, notice they said minorities in that. I looked it up. It's not exactly all minorities. No, there's a very specific group of people that are jaywalking and getting ticketed in New York City. And it's not the Asians, because they're minorities, not really the Muslims either. Guess who it is? Yeah, it's that group of people. Now, to be fair, in defense of that group of people, it is kind of a silly law, isn't it? I get it. If you run in front of a moving vehicle, you can hurt someone. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about just giving the ticket to somebody for crossing the street. And the reason they want to get rid of it, they're not really saying it out loud, but they kind of are, is because basically this only happens to one group of people. One very specific group of people. Now, if that, if you're watching on social media, I kind of already let the cat out of the bag here. What we're about to do, we're about to look at some very racist crime statistics. The worst thing you could do. Math is so racist. I know we all agree. When you just look at raw numerical data, it is very offensive. And, okay, blacks make up what? About 13% of society? The argument is that if a group of people is disproportionately getting arrested for something, that law needs to go away. All right, let's do it. Here we go. Here's the crime statistics. First of all, I just want to point out here something real quick. These are, for those of you watching on social media, these are 2019 crime statistics in the United States. You might be wondering why 2019. Well, thank you for asking. If you go to the FBI's website, it's a DOJ website, you'll notice something here. We got the crime statistics for 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019. Weirdly enough, right after the year 2020, somebody, I don't know who it was, someone took office right after 2020, and the FBI stopped publishing this stuff. No one knows why. No one knows who it was. Whoever is currently in charge of the DOJ has decided you don't really need to get the latest crime statistics. If you really dig and burrow around, you will find that stuff. But for those of you that keep up with the news, what you may have learned recently is cities like New Orleans, Chicago, Memphis, basically the most murderous cities in the country, they're not really sharing all their crime data with the FBI right now for public news consumers like you and me. So again, it's part of the way that they repeat the lie that crime's going down, but I'm getting off topic here. This isn't about specific crimes. It's about disproportionately committed crimes based on race. Now, let me zoom in a little here on the screen for those of you at home watching on the social media there. As you'll notice, on the screen here, we got a lot of crimes: rape, murder, robbery, aggravated assault, burglary, larceny, theft, motor vehicle arson. So these are, these are pretty serious crimes. We're not just talking about jaywalking. But they told us jaywalking crimes have got to go because only one group of people is getting arrested for them. All right. Well, if black people make up about 12% of society, what percentage of murders are they committing? As you can see here, they are committing about 50% of the murder. Now, that's a lot of murder. If it wasn't for this 12% of society, those murders wouldn't be taking place. But also, if it wasn't for the law, those people, 50% of the people getting arrested for it wouldn't be getting arrested at all. So shouldn't we just get rid of the murder laws? That's basically what New York City is telling you here. And I can make this stupid point with almost everything else. As you can see from the screen here, sometimes the number of white people committing crimes is actually higher than the number of black people that are committing crimes. Here on the screen here, 11,000 white people raped, 4,000 black people raped, they claim. But, while there's different reasons for that, one community is more likely to report it than the other. Okay, whatever. This is still disproportionately higher per capita. You guys know, never talk about per capita, by the way. Nothing is more racist than per capita. But, if you're one of those people that isn't emotionally driven in every issue in your life and you just look at things logically, actually that is pretty high there. It's like 26%. Okay, but they only make up 12% of society. So shouldn't Shouldn't rape laws basically just go away? And I can make this point over and over again. Aggravated assault, what are we looking at here? 33% of the crimes, 28% of burglary, 38% of larceny. Again, all statistically higher in terms of percentages than the 12% that they make up in society. My only point is, and I'm sure I've already made the point, if I haven't beaten the dead horse enough at this point, this can't be the reason the law is going away. We're getting rid of jaywalking just because one group of people gets arrested for it more than everybody else. Why did the law go away in the first place? And I say that as someone that thinks jaywalking laws are very silly and don't make any sense. But I can't be the only person that gets to weigh in on this. I believe in equity. I believe everybody gets to talk. And I found the most marginalized person in America that has an opinion on this. And that person, as a matter of fact, I think is Pete Buttigieg? No, he didn't want to win. No, it's just average New Yorkers talking about how they feel about the legalization of jaywalking. Play the sound.
Who cares? So what else is new? I jaywalked my whole life here. I lived here for 60 years and I jaywalked. Gotta be alert. You're in New York. Look alive.
You get a chance, you go. Take it. If it's safe? If it's safe, you go. Watch both ways, because now we got these guys.
Yeah.
When was the last time you heard somebody say that, I'm happy they caught that jaywalker?
What? I mean, yeah, I agree. Get rid of the jaywalking laws, but doesn't anybody else find it a little insulting why they're doing it?
Be wary of strong alcoholic drinks. They could make you shoot at tax collectors. And miss. This is Kenny Webster's Pursuit of Happiness on KPRC
don't do
950 Houston.
Never shoot at tax collectors. We discourage violence. That's supposed to be comedic. It's comedy, satire. People don't get jokes anymore. Hey, I want to just hang out with you guys a little longer here for a minute and talk about one more thing before I run out of time. The Washington Post is out right now running positive ads on Facebook. They're running ads on Facebook, which is interesting for a couple of different reasons. But the positive ads that they're running are about Kamala. Now, to be fair, they're also running negative ads. Guess who? I know you guys are really good at guessing stuff. Do you guys want to sound off on the comment section? If the Washington Post is running positive ads about Kamala, I know you guys are really smart, and I don't want to insult your intelligence here, but does anybody want to guess who the negative ads are that the Washington Post is running ads about? Yes, that's correct, ladies and gentlemen. They're running negative ads about P. Diddy. No, they're running negative ads about Donald Trump. Of course they are. Of course. It's so predictable. But why? Why now? Why a few days out from the election? Didn't the Washington Post just days ago tell us they weren't going to endorse a candidate? And then right around the same time, USA Today said they're not going to endorse a candidate. And the LA Times also said they were not going to endorse a candidate. Now, to be fair, I'm telling these in the wrong order. The story started with the LA Times. The LA Times said, sorry, guys, this year we will not endorse a presidential candidate. And Jennifer Rubin, do you guys know who Jennifer Rubin is? Rubin Reports or whatever. If you're on X or Twitter, you definitely know who this woman is. She's a columnist at the Washington Post. She's a journalist. She's their conservative. I'm doing a lot of quotation fingers for those of you that are listening on the radio and can't see me. She's not really a journalist. She's not really a conservative at all. Basically, the Washington Post pays Jennifer Rubin to tell people that she's a real conservative and the liberal position on things is actually the conservative position. I'm just making this up, but she writes blog posts that would have names, titles that would say things like, why we need to get rid of the Supreme Court for conservatism, or conservatism, or those things. Why the conservative position would be stacking the Supreme Court. And then she'll make a bunch of points that liberals and Marxists would have made. And it's always the dumbest thing you've ever heard. Jennifer Rubin heard that the LA Times was not going to be endorsing a candidate. So she hopped on Twitter and she started tweeting about how all the journalists at the LA Times need to quit their job. And then when some of them actually announced they were quitting, I won't work at this news outlet if they won't endorse a candidate, Jennifer Rubin said, good for you. Where are the rest? Where are the rest of these people that are going to quit their jobs? And a few days pass, and then her news outlet announced that they would not be endorsing a candidate. So everybody that heard looking around and, hey, Jennifer, just literally days ago, like hours ago, technically, you were telling everybody at the LA Times they should quit their job because their newspaper won't endorse a candidate. And now can't help but notice your news outlet is now the one announcing it's not going to endorse a candidate. So you must be quitting your job, right? Turns out, no, she's not. Suddenly she's completely silent on this stuff. I generally don't waste a lot of airtime talking about some columnist at the Washington Post, but Jennifer Rubin, I'm going to take these off. Jennifer Rubin is representative of basically an entire industry right now. There's an entire industry out there of people that for the last 4, 8, 10 years during the Donald Trump era just kept repeating this line over and over again. We're not partisan. We're just being journalists. No. It's just in your imagination that most of the news coverage is negative of Donald Trump. We're actually nonpartisan. We're just telling you what's going on. It's Donald Trump's fault for being so awful. And then conservatives and moderates and libertarians would say, yeah, but you're really being selective about what stories you hyper-focus on and what stories you completely ignore. And 99% of the time, it's pro-liberal, anti-conservative, pro-authoritarian, anti-libertarian, far to the left, never on the right. You get what I'm driving at here? And over again, they kept telling us, no, we're just journalists. You don't get journalism. And then a little bit of time passed, and 3 of the biggest newspapers in America, which also happen to be the three of the biggest online news sources, the Post, the LA Times, USA Today, don't endorse a candidate. And suddenly all these journalists are mad about it. And they're not just quietly, privately mad on their own. They're very publicly mad. They're very openly mad about it. I'm not a journalist, guys. I'm a jackass on the radio, and I tell dick jokes about politicians. And to those of you that follow me on social media or listen to our radio show, you've heard me say that line many, many times. And there's a reason I say that line many times. I'm not anything more than that. I'm just a guy at the end of the day that wants to prove that these people aren't real journalists. They're not real journalists. Real journalists would just cover the news and not inject their opinion into everything. These people give their opinion on everything and very rarely tell you any of the news. And now, I guess I got to retire. I don't have to do that anymore. They have now admitted they are not real journalists. If you're quitting your job because your newspaper won't endorse a candidate, lo and behold, guess what? You're not a journalist. You were never a journalist. That's not what journalism is. Journalism is documenting what happens in the world and leaving your stupid opinions out of it. And these people aren't doing anything close to that. So here we are, guys. So what was the point of all this? The Washington Post is now running ads on Facebook telling you Kamala's great and Trump sucks. And you know why they're doing this? Because apparently over 200,000 people have already canceled their Washington Post subscription since finding out that the Washington Post isn't the partisan hack news outlet that we all knew that it always was, right? Which it is, but they're mad that it's not as partisan as they wanted it to be. So Washington Post is now bending over backwards, spread the cheeks and take a lick, do whatever you got to do. Sorry if that was a little too vulgar for you, but you know what kind of person I am. And there's something on your nose, kiddo, and it's very brown, and we all see it for exactly what it is. Shame on you, you disgusting, vile, partisan hacks. You should be ashamed of yourself. And isn't it hilarious that Facebook, of all places, is the place where they chose to publish this? The place that they chose to turn to is the news, it is a news outlet. It's media, it's social media, but it's still media. Facebook is media. The social media website they've turned to run the ads on is, ironically, the social media platform that has suffered the most from being a little too partisan. Back in 2016, all the liberals blamed Facebook for not censoring the conservatives enough, and they left the platform. And then Facebook responded by censoring all the conservatives, so they left the platform. So who is left on the platform? Cat ladies, people taking photos of their food, nobody, which pisses me off. I have a huge following on Facebook, 500,000 people. I'll tell you what, I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. Right now, at this exact moment, I have about 55,000 people that follow me on Twitter. That's a good amount of people. I have more than 500,000 people that follow me on Facebook. Combined together on my 2 Facebook pages, I have right now 12 people watching me. On Twitter, where I have 1/10 of the following, I have almost 300 people following me. Do I really need to drive the point home anymore? It's happening for 2 reasons. Number one, Twitter's more popular. right? Facebook's less popular, but also Facebook is censoring us. They're shadow banning us. And even though Mark Zuckerberg claims he's not doing this anymore, he still appears to be doing it. So now the far left Washington Post has lost 250,000 subscribers. Los Angeles Times lost 18,000 subscribers. It's 4.5% of their customer base. Good. Good. Did you guys listen real close off in the distance there? Do you hear that? Did you hear that tiny little violin? It's the world's smallest violin. Yep, that's what that is, kids. That tiny violin is playing right now for the New York Times. I'm Kenny Webster. I love you all. Happy Halloween. Thank you for watching this. Let me get caught up with some of your comments real quick before I get out of here. Linda on Facebook says, hello from Conroe, where the clouds just caused an electricity brownout, knocking all devices off the internet. Well, then how are you here, Linda? I'm glad you are here. What's up, Linda? I love you. Jordan on YouTube says, who is the youngest person on the oldest station? I guess that'd be me. Probably. I don't know. I think he's reacting to the fact that at the beginning of this broadcast, I said, this is the oldest radio station in Texas, which is why we're very proud to be on it. We're on a lot of radio stations. We're also on an FM station in Houston, 94.53 HD, but we tell people about AM 950 because it's a legacy station. And sometimes people use that to make fun of us. They're like, oh, you're just on an AM radio station in Houston. Guys, I've had 2.5 million people download our podcast in the last couple of weeks. That's just our podcast. We're on dozens of radio stations. Believe me, we're doing fine. So thank you, by the way. Humble brag. I'm very comfortable bragging, obviously. Barbara says, love you. I love you too, Barbara. Peyton says, is Austin really in Texas? Peyton, do you have 4 hours? There's this one place right in the middle of Texas where everybody either works for a tech company or the government. And guess what? They're all from California, and it's called Austin. Austin, to me, is kind of like New Orleans. I enjoy going there for the weekend. On Friday, I can't wait to get there. I got concert tickets. We're staying at a cool hotel. We're going to go to the food truck park. We're going to go down by the lake. Someone's going to smoke some funny plant. We're going to see a concert. We're going to go to a comedy club. We're going to eat barbecue. And then on Sunday, I can't wait to get the F out of there. And that's kind of how I feel about New Orleans, too, because after about 48 hours of tiptoeing around feces and hypodermic needles, you just can't wait to leave town. Dale says the MS and MSNBC is the global serial killer Bill Gates after all. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Dale. Dale's correct about that. I don't know why, Bill. Does it ever bother you when you disagree with someone on everything except for one thing? I bet I disagree with Bill Gates on almost everything. He's a socialist who believes in authoritarianism. In the 90s, in the 80s and 90s, he built his computer empire by bullying and suing and stealing intellectual content from smaller tech companies. And liberals used to hate him right up until 2020, kind of like Fauci. They hated these guys right up until they loved them. So Bill Gates has always been a hack, but he does believe in this one thing that I believe in, which is nuclear power. I think nuclear power is great. I don't hear a lot of people on the left talking about why we need more nuclear power, but we do. And we're not building any nuclear power plants right now, which is a huge mistake. But I think he is. Isn't he building one? Anyway, Jose says hello. Jose B says hello too. Good to see you. Dale says hilarious. Do as I say, not as I do. Peyton says big time. I love that you're leaving comments, but sometimes you're leaving a comment about a specific thing I said 20 minutes ago, and I don't know what it is. Nuck Choris, I love that, says FB sucks, Facebook sucks. You know that. I do. Jessica, very beautiful Jessica on Facebook says, peace out, happy Halloween. Goodbye, Jessica. I guess she's got to go. Linda says, here via cell phone. Ah, that makes sense. David is watching in spring. Linda says, see you on the 10th. Linda, I can't wait to hang out with you at our comedy show. It's the biggest venue we've ever used, and we did that for two reasons. One is that this stuff always sells out. We always have more people that want to go to these comedy shows than we have seats for. Usually we do a comedy club with like 100 seats, and we get to and we sell 100 tickets, and that's it. This time we have decided to do it in a bigger venue, so we do still have tickets available if you want to go to that. I will drop a link in the comments section right now for those of you that want to go. But if you're listening on the radio or you're unable to see the link for whatever reason, I don't know why, Go to wheelchairsforwarriors.org. Go to the events section. We have a lot of funny comedians. It's a week from this Sunday. In addition to it being a great stand-up comedy show to raise money for disabled military veterans, which is a very worthy cause in my humble opinion, it's also tax deductible because the charity we're doing it for is a 501c3 charity, so you can write that off. So that's money you don't have to give to shithole Joe Biden. Fun fact. Davey Dave says, I live in Louisiana, but New Orleans sucks. I love New Orleans, but I also hate it. I love Chicago, but I also hate it. I love Houston, but I also hate it. So when you hear me rag on these cities, just know I'm not just shitting on these cities. When I talk about these cities, I'm coming at it from a very personal, I've spent a lot of time in New Orleans. That's like my home away from home. Houston is my home. Chicago is my home away from home. New Orleans is my home away from home away from home. Memphis is my home away from home away from home away from home. I've spent a lot of time in all four of these cities. For some reason, I know I'm a right-wing talk radio host. I've spent most of my life I've spent inside of big, dirty, grungy, disgusting cities, exactly the kind of places where people like me usually flee from as quickly as we can. And then there are people on our side that will use that against me. They're like, yeah, well, what does Kenny know? He lives in the city with the liberals. You need people like me in the city because as the problems in the city get worse and worse, guess where they go? Guess where the criminals go when they get let out of the jail in Harris County or Cook County or Orleans Parish? Guess where they go? Yeah, they go to your town, kids. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching. If y'all could do me a favor, first of all, if you're new here, hit like, hit subscribe, hit, yada, yada, yada. Like nobody wants to pander for likes and follows and stuff, but that's how this industry works, and you guys know that. Retweeting it helps, sharing this video, very helpful for us if you don't mind. You don't have to send us money. I don't work at NPR. I don't work at Media Matters. I'm not asking for your donations. I know a handful of you subscribe to my Twitter. Thank you for doing that. I'm very grateful if you do subscribe to my Twitter, but you don't have to. If you do, just know that generally when I get money from social media platforms like Facebook and YouTube and stuff, because what I do for a living is this, my radio show, and we sell Oops steam cleaning and MyPillow and stuff like that for a living. Usually when I get a check from a social media platform, even though it's only a few $100, I almost always give it to charity. So you're supporting me, but you're also supporting Wheelchairs for Warriors or Sunshine Kids or Crowdsource Rescue or one of the other great charities I get behind. So thank you for that. If you do support us, you're supporting a lot of, by proxy, you're supporting other great stuff. So I love you all. It's Halloween. I don't know what I'm going to do tonight. I guess I'll be at the gym. Did you guys know I lift? I lift. I'm going to be at Starting Strength, and then I don't know where I'm going to go after that. I'll be there till about 6 o'clock, and then maybe go to Memorial Park where I think there's like a Halloween thing going on. But if you guys see me out and about this evening in the city, I will let you buy me a beer. I will let you do that. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. We'll be back bright and early tomorrow morning for more of what you bought a radio for.